Kane is in the building.
Hey, Jet here with McLogan Supply Company. Today we're going to be doing textile foil transfers using CAD cut materials as an alternative to screen printing. We'll be using crown roll leaf foil, our new Gecko Specialty Melt, and our Gecko glitter to do a two-color design. Let's get started with the cutting.
Now we're going to work on our artwork. Let's open Adobe Illustrator. I have my artwork actually already laid out on a shirt template, so let's just take the design itself, pull it over here. I'm going to change the colors to be something more accurate to what we're actually going to be putting on the shirt. We're going to be doing a silver glitter with a gold foil over our specialty melt. Now you can see this artwork is simply layered over each other at this point, and it's going to get a heavy feel on the shirt if we do that, so I'm going to separate these colors and we're going to realign them later. We're going to use the Pathfinder and hit the divide function, ungroup the artwork, choose this gray, and we're going to select same fill color, so we grab all of that, group that together. Now you can see that artwork has been separated there. Now if we go into wireframe mode, we can see some unwanted lines that we got to get rid of. So let's delete these. Weld this back together and do the same thing with this N. Go back to regular mode and just select this. Now we have this grouped. We're going to cut our glitter first, so let's select that and go to Cut Master to run our graph tech. So now we just need to go set up our material and we can get going.
Okay, now we're ready to cut. We're going to start with our glitter. I went ahead and loaded it into the back of the machine and pulled through a good amount of material to get started. This will give us enough material to cut our objects, and it will also help to make sure your tracking is true and straight. We're going to start by lowering the lever, and we have to make sure our pinch rollers are below the blue lines. The machine's going to measure from the inside of the wheel to the inside of the wheel to give you your cut area. It gives us our options here. We have option 1 to roll the front edge, which means it's going to pull the material all the way back to the front edge so you maximize all your material. We can hit 2, which will just leave it right where it is and start cutting at that point. Or we can do 3, which will pull all the material out, which we do not want to do because we have a 50-yard roll on this machine. So let's choose option 1. The head is going to move, like I said, from inside wheel to inside wheel. It's going to retract, and I saw it was nice and true and straight. So next we're going to put our blade holder in. Now GraphTech offers 2 blade holders, a blue and a red tip. Now the difference is the blue is the go-to, it's the regular GraphTech blades, but the red offers a thicker blade, and it's good for thick materials such as sandblast mask, or in this case glitter. We're going to just go ahead and drop that in, tighten up the bracket, and you always want to do a test cut on your material before you start doing a run. So we're going to press Condition Test. At the bottom it shows us our options. We're going to press the right arrow, and we're testing our force, so we're going to press the number 1. It's going to cut 3 squares with 3 triangles in it, and what you want to see is by pulling the square out, the triangle should stay very easily. If the triangle lifts, you don't have enough pressure or enough knife depth. If the triangle stays, you're good. And obviously, if you cut all the way through, either your force or your knife depth is too great. That looks good, so we're ready to go. We're going to press the Enter key. It's going to retract the material back. And then we're going to press 4 to get back our conditions. We're going to hit Condition Test. Now we're back at the Home menu. Now remember, we have these squares cut right here, and if your material cuts right there, it's wasted. So let's go ahead and feed that out a little bit. And just hold the down arrow. Just feed the material out a little bit and press Origin. This is our new starting point. So let's go ahead and cut.
Now we have our plotter set up. I went ahead and pulled the size from the machine using this button. Automatically reads the cutting size or cutting area on the material, inputs it here. and it looks like we may have enough room to do 2 of these images. So let's change its orientation, add a copy, looks great. We need to make sure we mirror this image before cutting it for the heat press. We're going to follow the same steps for the specialty melt material, and then we're going to move on to the rest of the process.
Okay, so we're all done cutting. Let's go ahead and remove the sheet from the cutter here. Now, it has this groove here, which can be utilized to cut the material. Let's go ahead and make sure we feed this out a little bit, just so that we're not cutting through our objects, because I've seen that happen way too many times. Go ahead and remove that. Raise your pinch rollers. Remove your material, and let's move on to the next one. Okay, now we're ready to cut our specialty melt material. You can see it's got a bluish tint. This is caused by a carrier sheet that needs to be removed before cutting. It serves 2 purposes, one for shipping, and it also helps to identify the side you want to cut. So let's go ahead and remove the protective carrier sheet. We sell this material by the yard, so I went ahead and just cut a yard off, and we can easily load it from the front when we do it that way. Now these lines on the front of the machine here are very helpful to make sure you're lining your material up straight for good true tracking. So we're going to lower our pinch rollers. We're going to roll our front edge again so we get the most use out of our material. Alright, so before we start cutting, we were using the red blade holder last time for the thick glitter. We want to go back to our blue tip. It's got a very little bit of the blade coming out, so that's what's really helpful about having 2 blade holders. You can go back and forth between multiple materials, and you don't have to fuss with your force settings as much. But as always, we're going to do another test cut before getting into our production. We're going to test our force. And again, we want to remove that square, leaving the triangle. You can choose any one of these 3. We did beautifully, so we're ready to go. We're going to press enter, 4 cancel to get out, and condition test to get back to our main menu. So we're ready to cut. Alright, so our material's all done cutting. You can see our new logo here that we cut. Next step is to weed both the materials and move back on to the heat press. So we're back at our heat press now. We went ahead and weeded our materials, and we're ready to apply the first layer. It's going to be our glitter. We have the heat press set at 310 degrees. We're pressing for about 12 seconds. We're using the Stahl's auto-release heat press, so there's no worries of burning the shirt or the materials. Alright, go ahead and remove your carrier sheet. This is a hot peel. Take your specialty melt, which we cut and weeded as well, and go ahead and align it to the first image. Again, we're pressing this for about 12 seconds, 305 to 315 degrees. This product is a hot peel as well. Let's go ahead and remove your carrier sheet. Take your foil, put it right over that. Press one more time. With the foil, I like to let it release slowly so it doesn't pick up the foil. Take a spare shirt, just kind of rub it around. Really gets that foil to adhere nicely. And if you have the luxury of a second press, we can cool this very quickly because you want to peel this one cold. And there you go. We have a glitter and foil transfer without screen printing.